Time is 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. The Open Public Meetings Act. According to the Open Public Meetings Act, this meeting of September 27th, 2023 was sent to the Our Town and the Record and published on January 9th, 2023, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building on Rochelle Park's website and Facebook page, and has remained continuously posted as a required notice under the statute and is being recorded and videotaped. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Can I have a roll call?
Committeewoman Artola?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Bessetti?
Here.
Committeewoman Boniface?
Here.
Committeeman Mosca?
Here.
And Mayor Apici.
Here.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Presentation? Nothing? Okay. Any correspondence?
No?
No. Any approval of the agenda?
Mayor, I just have one change with regard to closed session. We can delete matters relating to litigation, and we can delete including and pending any anticipated litigation. The only things to be discussed in closed session today are negotiations and personnel, and that's really it.
Okay. Can I get an approval of the agenda? Motion?
I make the motion.
I'll second. Committeewoman Artola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bessetti?
Yes.
Committeewoman Boniface?
Yes.
Committeeman Mosca?
Yes.
And Mayor Apici. Yes.
Thank you. Any discussions? No? Okay. We'll start with the administrator report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll keep this as brief as I can. Monday was the closing for our full-time laborer applications. We received, I don't have the exact count, but at least 16, possibly even 20 applicants. Dave Brown and I will begin reviewing those, see if they meet the requisite requirements that he has for his department, and then we'll begin interviews soon thereafter. Also, I want the committee to consider the CDBG grant for the 2024 period is open. And speaking again with Dave Brown, we looked at Lincoln Drive and Chestnut Avenue are probably the two streets that can use improvements. And I'm going to recommend and ask Boswell if we in fact do this to include some speed calming, curbing, and and again, as brought up at the work session, thinking outside the box, because those are two of the streets that are cut-throughs. Excuse me, pardon me. And I think it'll be a worthwhile effort. As a reminder, we stand to get about for that resolution that's on, or the bond ordinance rather, in reference to Gertrude Avenue and the improvements there. At least a little bit more than about $3,900 more than half the cost will be provided by the similar grant for this year. So I ask that the committee pass that today. There's been a lot of work around town. Public Service milled and paved those streets that they've worked on. I know the inconvenience, while temporary, was a pain, but again, the inconvenience was temporary, but the improvements will be permanent. Dave Brown was on site with, as well as other laborers from the DPW, marking any damaged storm drains that were fixed by either TOCON or our contractor for something that was deemed to be existing and just revealed upon the milling, as well as making sure if there's any damaged curbs or sidewalks as a result of the project that TOCON and PSE&G, which is paying for it all, will come back and repair those. I think that's all I have for now. I'll interject as you go through your committee reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Start with Committeewoman Boniface.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for attending. Free COVID tests are available. The United States government is giving to every household 4 COVID tests delivered free directly to your home. Go to covid.com. It's simple. If you need help placing an order for your at-home test, dial 1-800-232-0233. If it's free, it's for me. I just ordered my test this afternoon. Next thing going on is the Bergen County Utilities Authority Household Hazardous Waste Collection Event is going to be October 15th at Bergen Community College from 9 to 3. If you missed that one, the final one for the end of the year is November 18th. That will be at the Bergen County Utilities Authority at the foot of Empire Boulevard in Moonachie. And we have one last recycling event at Bergen County Camp Broad Mountain Reservation, Sunday, October 1st from 9 to 2. That's for mobile paper shredding, which we had last week, electronics and computers, which we now hear taken town. Put that out at the curb on the fourth Wednesday of each month. Unwanted medication, which there's a box in the police lobby also. So save your trip. And that's all, folks.
If I may, Mayor?
Yes.
Committeewoman Bonifaz made a great point about the electronics pickup. Please call or email Dave Brown ahead of time and then put your items out on the 4th. If he doesn't know that they're there, they're not just going to go around town looking for this stuff. But we will pick them up on the fourth Wednesday of each month. But please make that appointment with the DPW. And again, this is we've monetized that in a way, and that the vendor that picks them up will give us money back for a certain amount of weight. And again, I thank Lisa Shealy for her input on that, our recycling coordinator.
Thank you. Committeewoman Artola.
Hello. I attended the Paramus Planning Board meeting last week for the multifamily mixed-use project at the Garden State Plaza. I spoke about the effects it could have on Rochelle Park. I spoke about Sprout Brook and described its flow. I also questioned about traffic and how our police work traffic detail during the holiday shopping season, and questioned what the traffic will be like once this is built. I also asked how this will affect our police, because in the event of an emergency, our police respond and are sometimes the first to respond to the plaza. I asked how this will affect the bus depot and parking, because our residents rely on it. This was the first meeting. There will be more testimonies to follow. Last night, I attended the school board meeting at the invitation of Chief Pinto because they honored the school crossing guards. Congratulations to all the crossing guards who were honored for their recognition. My mother was a Rochelle Park crossing guard for about 20 years, so I remember firsthand how dangerous the job could be. They put themselves out in all kinds of weather conditions, hot, cold, rain, snow, and sunburn. So thank you to them all for their dedication. Last weekend, I took some old documents to the shred event in the rain. I want to thank Lisa Marie and Morgan from our DPW for spending hours in the rain as they took papers from residents' vehicles and into the shred truck. The American Legion and the American Legion Auxiliary and the Sons of the American Legion are joining forces to promote the Be the One initiative, which destigmatizes asking for mental health support, provides peer-to-peer support and resources, and educates everyone on how they can be the one. How can you be the one? Ask veterans in your life how they are doing. Listen when a veteran needs to talk. Reach out when you think a veteran might be struggling. And increase awareness about veteran and military suicide epidemic. Those needing help are encouraged to call Veterans Crisis Line at 988. National POW MIA Recognition Day was on September 17th. President Joe Biden said, "Unbreaking and unbending in their devotion to the duty of our service members have sacrificed everything to keep our people and our democracy safe. While more than 81,000 of these brave service members still remain missing and unaccounted for, they are not and will never be forgotten." He continued, "On this day, may we recommit our search efforts for all those missing and unaccounted for, as well as our support for their families. May we honor the remarkable bravery, sacrifice, and commitment to service of former prisoners of war. And may we continue to keep the flame of liberty burning bright and continue to work toward a more perfect union, which our service members sacrificed so much." And we got some great news. So back in 2021, we had 13 residents who responded to and who were eligible for a grant for their homes to be elevated, and we got the grant. So I remember back in 2021, Amory was working in the building department, and there were a number of documents that all the residents had to turn in, and Amory checked them all, filed them all. I think it was like 13 documents or so. And if one document was missing from any of these, the entire grant would have been refused. So all that work paid off. It took FEMA a while to get word to us. But Chief or Administrator, would you like to give us more details on that?
Yeah, so I was, pleased to see that email at first, and then had a subsequent conversation with Sylvia Haystreet from the Department, our New Jersey Office of Emergency Management, who's been coordinating this with previous Administrator Davidson, and obviously with Amory's help. I flat out said, look, I'm pretty ignorant to this because I was not involved. She explained a little bit about the lot that has to be done in order for this to happen. And this committee's gonna have to make some decisions, the 90-10 split, et cetera, et cetera. I also spoke to James DeMaria, our construction code official, who dealt with this in Little Falls. And he said, Chief, it's at the end of the day, I'm telling you, it's more work than any person can handle outside of doing just that. He says, probably part-time help would be needed to help, administer this and coordinate it. He said, even a full-time administrator, we had to bring somebody in to help them. We had to bring somebody else in, into the building department to help with just this. So I throw that out to the committee for consideration, and as we move forward, if we accept the grant and the award letter Committee Woman Artola has, if we sign that we want to be part of this, there'll be a kickoff meeting, and I'm going to recommend that those that were involved in the past process be allowed to at least be in that meeting to help bring me up to speed and keep the ship focused in the right path. But again, it's good news for those residents. It'll help us in the long run, right? As a township, in the event we should suffer another flood emergency, at least these 13 homes, these people, we know their contents are safe, and it's 13 less piles of garbage on the street, and of course, risk of life and injury. So it's a great thing, and we've got some great grant news this year, and I'm happy to be the recipient of it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Anne-Marie. Yes.
And if I may, I'm sorry, Mayor, because I said I would interject. Committeewoman Artel also mentioned being at the Paramus Planning Board meeting. We also had Bruce Rockwell, from Boswell Engineering present. I know he compared notes with the committeewoman afterwards. Pretty much everything, they were in agreement as to what they were able to deem from the meeting. Bruce did say he was going to put together a memo, and he'll provide that to this committee. He also asked if we want to have him to continue to go. Of course, there would be a fee for that. I said, please put together a proposal. I recommend, at least for the part where we know if there's going to be any water runoff, which we're told is less due to DEP guidelines, and right now it's 98 to 99% pavement, and this project would actually reduce that amount of coverage. But I think it's something this committee should consider, and we should probably have our engineering professionals present to at least confirm what's being said. Thank you for attending. I appreciate it.
Yes, you're welcome. Oh, and the next meeting for the Paramus Planning Board is October 5th. Yeah.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Bassetti?
Since last meeting, the DPW has completed the following. Street sweeper was out 15 hours. Assistant police were changing the batteries in the speed signs and relocating signs as requested by the PD. We picked up metal curbsides on Mondays for recycling. Please call the DPW to schedule a pickup. They cut the grass around town properties. We had a meeting with Boswell regarding the new pump station. Down trees, sprayed all the town-owned properties for lantern flies under a grant that the town received. Matthew Field's electric block replaced and updated after it was damaged by a vehicle. PSCG's milling and paving started on Friday and was completed today. DPW members assisted with the end of summer's concert. Members assisted with the recycling coordinator at the shredding event at Town Hall. Just a reminder, as was said, electronic pickup is every fourth Wednesday of the month. Please call the recycling hotline at 201-587-7740, extension 2501. That we handle 3 calls for reports of sewer backups. Please contact DPW if you would like to put on the list have a tree planted in front of your home. We have 16 residents that expressed interest and they're looking for more. Reminder that December 11, 2023 is the last day for grass and leaves picks up until 2024. They also cleaned and inspected roof drains of the town hall roof multiple times with all the recent rain. And police report, during the month of August, they wrapped up the numbers at 1,089 calls, 17 arrests, 59 criminal charges, 314 summonses were issued. Coming up today, I'd like to congratulate Hassan Shah and Eti Farola, completed 1-year probation on September 29th, and that will be permanent officers of the township. And with recent events going on nationwide with the shoplifting, we got a letter from CVS regarding one of our officers. I'd like to read it into the record. Dear Chief Pinto, on behalf of CVS Health, I am writing this letter pertaining to Detective Sergeant Jared Shakin. The actions of Detective Sergeant merit the highest commendations, and the quality of his work represents the highest standards of excellence that is long associated with the Rochelle Park Police Department. As a matter of introduction, I am a regional manager of CVS Organized Retail Crime Team and currently cover the territory of New Jersey, Eastern Pennsylvania, and Delaware. I have the distinct pleasure of working with Detective Sergeant Jared Shakin on numerous investigations, has been a great asset in assisting with the identification and prosecution of multiple repeat offenders that have been targeting our CVS location of Rochelle Park. The identification and prosecution of these repeat offenders is greatly appreciated by CVS and the store employees that all work so hard every day to deliver the best service possible to our customers. As a regional manager for the CVS Organized Retail Crime Team, a retired police officer, I have worked with law enforcement professionals across the United States. I can confirm to you that Detective Shakin is a valuable asset to your agency and the citizens of Rochelle Park and the law enforcement community. Sincerely, David J. Legrand, Regional Manager of the CVS Organized Retail Crime. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, through the chair, one more time. Thank you, Committeeman, or Deputy Mayor Bassetti, for reading that. Jared is one of those few individuals that's very self-motivated, and that letter is no surprise to me. But to touch upon what the committeeman mentioned, the lantern fly invoice will be submitted to the state. We will get that money back through the grant that we applied for and were awarded this year. And the damage to Matthews Field, the Detective Bureau was able to utilize the cameras that we installed, the ALPR cameras on Essex Street, part of my initiative when I became chief. We're able to retrieve a license plate and basically track down the driver who basically showed appear to be interviewed intoxicated. But we have it all on video, and we're going to submit that through our JIF fund. I'm waiting for the final. The electrician didn't think it was all that bad until he took the box apart, found the base to be broken, and there were subsequent issues. So as the invoices come in, we'll pay it out, but I'll submit it through insurance should it meet our deductible. But again, hopefully no cost to the town. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Committeeman Mosca?
Okay, no reports for each of the, my liaison departments, but we do have a volunteer fire department member, junior firefighter being approved tonight, Garrett Crowell, so congrats to him and the fire department for getting him as a member. And the building department is still doing a great job, and we're proud of the work they're doing there. That's it.
Thank you. Okay. May Recreation held their end of the summer concert on Friday, September 22nd at Midland School. The Elton John and Elvis tribute band was great and had a great turnout. For those who attended, Recreation hopes you enjoyed the event. Recreation basketball registration will be coming soon, so please watch their social media pages and the Township website for further updates. Ragamuffin Parade will be taking place on Saturday, October 28th at Matthews Field, with the rain date of Sunday, October 29th. Lineup starts at 11 a.m. The parade will begin at 11:30 at the Presbyterian Church at 100 Rochelle Ave. The Knights of Columbus Soccer Challenge for the boys and girls ages 9 to 14 are this Sunday, at Carlock Field from 3 to 4 p.m. Please stop down to show your support. For the Board of Education, they would like to thank the Mayor and Council and the Police Department for working hand in hand with getting a new SRO for the safety of the children of Rochelle Park. They'd like to welcome to Midland School Lieutenant Stapleton. I also attended last night's Board of Education meeting where the school administration, Board of Education, and our police department presented each of our crossing guards with an award to show their gratitude and appreciation for all that they do each and every day for our children in Rochelle Park. I'd also like to thank the crossing guards for playing such an important and vital role each and every day in these children's lives. October 2nd through 6th is Respect Week for the school. Flyers will be sent home with the students and posted on the school website. Printouts for the flyer are also on the table. This Saturday, the 30th, the 8th grade will be hosting their school car wash fundraiser from 10 to 2 p.m. at Midland School. It's $5 a car. Please stop down to help show your support for the 8th grade class. The rain date will be October 1st. On October 11th, the PTO will also be hosting a Dine to Donate at Amici's. Please check their social media for more details, and flyers will be sent home with the students and on the website. October 14th, the PTO will be hosting their annual trunk or treat at the Midland School parking lot from 4 to 7 p.m., and the rain date will be October 15th from 3 to 6 p.m. You can pre-register for your wristbands before October 2nd for $8 or pay $10 at the door. You fill out the entry form and return it with your child's homeroom teacher, and also the printouts are on the table. The PTO has begun collecting for their annual giving baskets, which supports our local families that are in need for Thanksgiving. They're looking for turkeys, cornbread and biscuit mix, canned jar gravy, stuffing, instant potatoes, canned corned peas and yams, mini marshmallows, cranberry sauce, evaporated milk, pumpkin and pie, apple pie fillings, pie shells, pie crust mix, brownie mixes, muffin mixes, cake mixes, and large disposable foil pans. These non-perishable donations can be dropped off at the school's main entrance, or you can contact tdkav825@aol.com. And the flyer also is at the table. And anyone interested in joining the PTO, their QR code is also on the table. It's $10 for membership and $20 for a double membership. And I'd also like to state that there has been no change in the mayor's designee for the planning board, which is Deputy Mayor Vincent Bassetti. He will remain the planning board designee. And that's all I have.
One more time, Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
Thank you. And as I look out into the crowd, I see the smiling face of Mr. Verhassel. It reminds me of, I was contacted by another Eagle Scout who's going to begin his project out here on our gazebo, as well as the one down by the EMS building. So I had them fill out the hold harmless paperwork that's required under JIF, and they were given the blessing to go ahead and begin their work. So I look forward to that. I see Pete Donatello out, and it reminded me, and I know I've mentioned this to you folks in an email, but I wanted to follow up today. We received confirmation from the New Jersey State Police Office of Emergency Management that, in fact, they will allow Neptune City to transfer to us 2 Humvees, which are hardtop Humvees, and in much better shape and condition than the one we currently have, as well as another high-water vehicle. What that means for us is the high-water vehicle is outside of the time frame. We will inherit it, but we could actually dispose of it if need be, but it becomes ours first. And we will take a look at ours as a soft top. It's been problematic. We've had animals living within it. It leaks. So if we can get rid of that, we will. If not, we will turn it back over to the military because, again, not everything has been outside the amount of time where it's completely demilitarized. So I look forward to getting at least those 2 new Humvees. One's going to be for parts, so there's actually 3. It comes to no cost to the township other than obvious any maybe changing of the decals from Neptune City to Rochelle Park. But again, unfortunately, we suffer floods. These vehicles do help us, and I know with the Office of Emergency Management here in town, we'll be able to put these to good use. God forbid we should, but it's like Committeewoman Boniface says, if it's for free, it's for me, and I'll take 3, and we ended up doing that. So again, I wanted to make the audience aware of that. And Rochelle Avenue, the Rochelle Avenue project, I'm going to reach back out to Mr. Dutch. I know the Board of Ed has some input or would like to give some input, and I agree. Their property is going to be, I don't want to say infringed upon, but there's going to be work done on their property or on the property of the Board of Ed, and why shouldn't they be at the table? So I'll reach back out. We'll set up another meeting. I hope this committee has considered what Mr. Dutch and the county have offered. If in fact we can get them to make a lot of these improvements not on our dime, I think it's something to strongly consider. We might as well get Rochelle Avenue redone, get some of those traffic lights replaced, the roadway widened. And again, Committeewoman Boniface, I will make it very clear that There's some opposition to the post office being purchased and that intersection being changed in that way. And that's all I think I have at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
Attorney report,
No, Mayor.
clerk's report?
So the garage sale is this Saturday, townwide. We have 70 houses. That's the largest turnout that we ever had. I know someone had mentioned it's supposed to rain, but we're not going to say it's going to rain. So the rain date is Sunday. However, it's going to be beautiful Saturday. So bring out your stuff. Tomorrow, all the houses will be posted online, so you can print it out and know where to go shopping for fabulous sales. Tomorrow, 10 to 12, in the senior center, ShopRite will be here, and they are sponsoring our flu shots for seniors. And they are also giving COVID boosters, pneumonia vaccines, and also shingles. So come on down. I have paperwork on the table, or you can fill it out tomorrow. October 5th, which Committeewoman Artola mentioned, is the next Paramus Planning Board at 7 p.m. about the plaza. So the more residents, the better. So go on over to the council chambers at Paramus on Jockish Square. And I'd just like to condemn my sincere condolences to the Cerici family on the loss of Kathy's mom.
If I may, Mayor. Just for consideration, there is a 30% chance of rain on Saturday, and with 70 homes being the most that have ever applied, is there any opposition to allowing both Saturday and Sunday should it rain on Saturday? I mean, that's a lot of garage sailing to do on one day, 70 homes. So, I mean,
So I'll have Annette posted that 2 days.
if nobody
Yeah,
sees it.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Public portion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, public portion is open for agenda items.
And if I may ask the public, is the sound any better? Because they promised me it would be better after they were here.
They get,
Good, good.
I'm just gonna ask the public that they be mindful of their time. At 3 minutes, I'll remind you where you're at. I'm not gonna be overly strict about the matter. There's not that many people here today, but I just want everybody to be mindful of their time. And again, if the Township Committee would kindly wait and allow the public to finish their questions in the event you have any statements you want to make.
Before Mrs. Verhassan, can I just say one more thing? I'm so sorry. Jim from the Our Town reached out. He's doing candidate bios. I tried to reach out to all the candidates in case I missed anybody. You have to get your stuff to Jim at the Our Town by Friday, October 13th. If you need an email or anything, just let me know and I can get you the email. But I did try to reach everybody, but in case I missed anybody. Sorry.
Diane Verhassel, Forest Place. The first thing I was going to say is that whatever you guys did, it's much clearer to hear you here. I don't know how it is online, but here we can hear you a lot better. Couple things. Since you mentioned the Scouts, I do not have tickets tonight, but we are having a fish fry on November 19th. Anybody that would like to buy tickets, I'll probably bring them to the next meeting. They're $20, same as last year. It's tastefully British. They do an awesome job, fish or chicken, etc. You have to buy tickets ahead so that they know how much to bring, and it supports the boys and the troops. So
How much do you think?
it's pretty much flat out 20. They don't give us a difference in price,
Got it,
but
okay.
you have your choice of chicken or fish. So if the kids like, they're not tenders. I mean, they're big pieces, but okay. When you were talking about streets and curbs, I don't know if it's too late to put in a request, but on Forest Place, the curb by in front of the church or on the side of the church has been gone.
It's on Dave Brown's list.
Okay, good. Because what I was going to ask is, even once that's replaced, there and across the street, if they could repaint the yellow, because between the drivers that arrive at about 1:30 for Sage Day and parents that get there for whatever reason super early, when you try and turn down the street, it's dangerous, and somebody at some point is going to hit somebody. So if there's a yellow curb that's an obvious one, hopefully it'll keep some of the people from parking there anyway. There were a couple things that I saw online that I think people misinterpreted things that were said at the last meeting, so I just want to correct some facts. I know we're not leaving this building now, but the Tyson House was mentioned as a possible for the library at some point. It is privately owned. It would be a very dangerous location And it would also be very costly to make it ADA compliant, which we would have to do if it was a public building. Also, there was a mention of grants that would be available for library, and people online are like thinking that there's all this money out there. First of all, those grants for the library are not all the time. They're very rare, and they're only for renovations to existing buildings, like Paramus Library, Maywood, where it's a separate building. It's not to build a new building. It's if you have one and you want to make a renovation. Some people had this vision, I guess. You know, I saw their comments online, and they made it sound like they thought, you know, we're going to get millions of dollars, and that's just not an option. So I just wanted to correct that. Dean, I wanted to ask, at the meeting, we were at the same meeting that Gail mentioned, and the lawyer, Mrs. Sinisi, brought up that there was a meeting with you, the tax assessor, and the lawyer, I guess. I don't know if it was you, Mark, or, okay. So could you tell us, it was over the summer, what happened at that meeting? And then another question, whoever, you know, because I checked back, and there was never a report about this meeting. And also, why was the tax assessor there? And why not a representative from the committee? Because I realized Gail went last night, but if there was a special meeting, I would have thought somebody from our committee should have been there. Either one of you guys.
I mean, Mr. I've mentioned it up from this day, so maybe it's not in the minutes, but I know for a fact I mentioned that Mr. Sinisi had come with the developer, Westland Garden State Plaza, to preliminarily show us what their vision was. And they flat out said, look, this is just, we just wanted to be good neighbors. We're going to go to the Paramus Planning Board. We can't share with you all the specifics, but here's what we're thinking is what we're going to ask for, at which point.
Yeah, at which point me and Dean both said that we want you to come before our public body and our public meeting and do the same thing for the courtesy of our residents. So the whole point of this is that Sinisa reached out to us as a courtesy, like Dean said, to be a good neighbor. And we immediately told him that it's more appropriate and it would be more beneficial to come to a public meeting. The reason it hasn't happened yet is because they didn't feel, and rightfully so, that they should come here before they go to Paramus. So they need to go to Paramus first to have a public meeting there. In which case, after they've done that, he's going to reach out to us. The meeting was just last night. So I know it's the first of the
Tuesday night.
last week. So at some point, I'm assuming Mr. Sinisi is going to reach out to us and schedule a time to come here, and for the benefit of our residents and our township committee, as a good neighbor, give everyone an understanding of what they're planning to
Was
do
there a
over there.
reason why the tax assessor was there?
I don't know why, I don't remember. Maybe she was just there.
If she wasn't there,
I don't remember
it was
being
part
there.
of what he announced, so.
Yeah, it wasn't, there was no intention to have her there for any specific substantive reason.
No, it's definitely not James.
Tax collector.
Yeah,
I'm
Jamie
going by
Ty
what
was
he
not there.
announced.
No,
He must have misspoke because Jamie was not there.
Yeah, so it was literally a meeting with just me and Dean and their professionals, at which point we told them that obviously it'd be more prudent for them to come to one of our public meetings. They agreed, and there's been some back and forth to schedule it, and the latest was they didn't feel comfortable coming here before going to Paramus, which is understandable. So that's kind of where that was at.
All right. I would suggest, just based on how the meeting went last week, that you not only have him, but maybe you get their architect or one of their engineers.
And our engineer as well. We want our
Right, but
professionals here.
what happened at that meeting, and I mean, Gail was there, it was a lot of, oh, well, this professional can't answer that, and that professional can't answer that. And I understand an engineer has to answer certain ones versus the architect. But it was very much, oh, this is all preliminary. We're creating this giant town square, we're busing people in and out, but we don't have any idea.
Well, as committee woman Rochelle said, I think this is the first of many
Right,
meetings.
so
that
the
we're
way
gonna have.
the planning
This project
board-
is extensive.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that there needs to be extent, and again, there's no requirement for them to come here. They don't have to come here, but we requested that they come here and they agreed, because this is going to be such a large project, they know that our township is going to be impacted in some way.
Don't
So
forget
we-
Plaza Way is Rochelle Park.
Yeah, all of those things, and we also talked about the fact that when they do schedule that meeting, we want our engineers here, so our engineers could hear out everything they have to say and potentially assist with questions from the public as well, so everyone could really flesh out what questions they have, and they graciously agreed to do that. So.
Like I said, they also need us because Plaza Way is more in Rochelle Park than it is in Paramus. So they need us to agree to certain things.
Yeah.
Russell, very similar to how Rochelle Avenue discussions went, right? I met with Mr. Dutch in the county, then we brought in some elected officials, then we brought them here. We say, hey, look, we want to have the opportunity for our public to question you. That was the intent with Mr. Sinisi and with the plaza. Not to move on, if I may, I'm going reverse order. Forest Place, we're well aware of. Dave Brown has that on his list. It's part of the
Great.
bonding that we did to bring in curb and sidewalk replacements. The reason he didn't paint one side was he wanted to do curbs. He would do it all in one shot, is what his plan was.
I was just thinking,
And
if he
the
does
Police
the curb-
Foundation is very interested in the fish fry, so make sure you reach out to it. We'll buy some tickets again.
Awesome, thank you.
Good evening, Joe Scarpa. So I think it's good that you're opposing the Paramus project, but yet you approve hundreds of residences here in Rochelle Park on Sprout Brook. You were willing to do a land swap with Telfer for this property to build apartments. You have a huge complex right across the street. You're putting hundreds of residents at risk to be captured there during a flood. So I don't quite understand. It's sort of ironic that you're opposing the Paramus project. Also, with regard to Paramus, you're also willing to let Rochelle Park lose all its ratables for the Route 17 expansion. That's only going to help Paramus, the Route 17 expansion. It's not going to help Rochelle Park any. So they're going to get more and more ratables, and we're going to lose our ratables. And you're also talking about, I don't know exactly how they're going to widen Rochelle Avenue. Are they going to take residents away from there too? I don't see how you can widen the avenue without eliminating some homes on Rochelle Avenue. So we're going to lose more ratables there as well. Also, I know none of you would give credit to Bob Davison, and you had your Republican Club member writing attack letters against him. But that grant you talk about tonight for the Howard Avenue residents, Bob worked on that grant. And how many millions of dollars was that for? That was attained? $3 million grant. The brick grant, $1.9 million. Bob showed me a text from Perrin thanking Bob for all the work he did on that grant. And he said, Dean couldn't have done it without you. So again, everyone's critical of Bob. And there's also a grant tonight in the multi-purpose bond for $725,000 that Bob got. He's too modest to come up here and talk about it. So I'll talk about it. And I just think you should really stop bashing him, because I think he did a lot during his time here as administrator. Thank you.
Hey, excuse me, Dean?
Yes.
Can you mention the flood mitigation too?
I will, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Chris Muller, Forest Place. I just had a follow-up to my question a couple weeks ago about the Closed Sessions and Open Public Meeting Act. I see you're going into another closed session tonight. Are you supposed to pass a resolution before you go into a closed session?
Yes,
Do you pass a resolution before?
every single time,
Where?
here in public.
Does anybody ever, is it said out loud, or is it written?
Said out loud,
Is it?
and a vote taken, and then after we close closed session, there's a vote taken, sometimes that vote taken in the back, because if there's nothing that's gonna happen after closed session, as a courtesy to the public, I make that statement, so you don't have to hang around for no reason. And then, yes, closed section is concluded with a resolution every time before the meeting is adjourned.
Well, then never mind. But do you ever come out with minutes or any of that from any of these things? Are you supposed to tell people what happened eventually? I mean, do minutes come
Yeah,
out?
there's requirements of minutes of closed session, there's summary minutes, right, Amber? And those are usually passed in the same manner that regular minutes are passed, I believe. Summarization, obviously the minutes are not exactly the
Right.
same as they are in open session.
Right.
It's a different, general understanding minutes, otherwise there'd be no reason for closed session.
Are there actual minutes from the regular meetings?
I think if that's the Township clerk.
Because it always just says minutes online, I mean, not minutes, agendas. It says agenda and minutes, and there's always just agendas and no minutes. So I was just wondering, are there minutes?
Yeah, they have to pass them, and they will at the next meeting.
But I meant for lately, like 6 months or anything for minutes of each meeting. Are they on the website? No. Yeah, that's what I was just questioning. All right,
I
that's
will
all I
make
have.
sure that it's updated.
All right, thanks.
Lynn Houghton, West Boulder Street, about the minutes. For 2023, minutes have been on the internet, on your website, for February 22nd, February 8th, March 22nd, March 23rd, January 23rd, and February 23rd. And that was due to a COBRA request. And regular meetings in June were passed for May. That's all that's been approved on your agendas. So you're a little bit behind in agendas and updating your minutes. Second of all, one of the ordinances tonight, I believe it's the one that Ms. Mueller was talking about, 23-185, the various ones, the various public improvements for 1.8 million. Okay? In the beginning of the year, you approved a bond for 959,000. I believe there were some duplications of requests there. My question is, when I went to look at the ordinances brought up on the charts, where you look up the ordinances, you stop at the year 2021. So I couldn't bring up the ordinance for the first one in the beginning of the year to see if it actually was approved and taken. So I'm at a loss. Is this a second bond this year? If so, we're over 2 million on that. Our debt's 12 million.
It's an amended bond.
Pardon?
It's an
It's a
amended.
2022 bond that's being amended.
We added more into it for Howard Ave. So the bond is the one from 2022, and it's been amended for more money to finish the project.
No, the other one was from 2310.
Well, it would probably be another project,
Correct.
I'm
because
saying,
we originally got this.
I'm trying to check things, and I go to check
But
things, and I
if you
can't get
refresh your
on.
browser,
I'm sorry,
refresh
what?
your browser, because all the ordinances were sent to E-code, and I have proof. She actually reached out to me today about an ordinance, but everything's up there, up to 2023-013.
I'm just saying, when you bring up agendas and ordinances,
Everything,
Your little
so all
column
the
there,
ordinances are in
and
the
I press
E-code.
that, and the ordinances come up, the last year listed there is 2021. If you try that. That's what I had on my computer today. Most important question of the evening, Mr. Pinto. 2 questions. Did we get a definite confirmation on the grant for the pumping station yet?
Not yet.
No. And that is for how much, if we get it? 1.9? And the estimate now to have this done is 3?
It's
We'll
still,
bond for that,
it's still an estimate.
right? We'll bond for, we'd have to.
There was
bond.
money already put aside, but yeah, what the exact amount's going to be determined, right? So once we have plans, we
Just
would.
saying, we are bonding and bonding, and you're going deeper and deeper in debt. You're paying over $1 million in interest. You gotta learn.
These bonds are for Howard Ave. So we have 2 grants coming out of, for Howard Ave. So we're just borrowing the money because we don't get paid for the grants
No, I'm
till
talking about
afterwards.
the bonding for the pumping station.
Yeah, wait, so we're going to get 1.9 million of that back, so that's not,
You're getting 1.9.
we don't know what the cost is going to be yet, but what
Well, the
happens,
last
Mrs. Howard, is
estimate here
we
is
can't, you
given
can't
was
get
3
that,
million.
you don't get the grant until such time as the project's finished, so you have to lay out the money to put $1.9 million on the taxpayers back in our municipal budget. I don't know how we do that without increasing taxes. I can't even do the math in my head. So that's what has to happen. This specific one that Committeewoman Boniface is referring to, that you referred to earlier, is just adding very minor, but we had to do that, as mentioned during the work session, and I believe the CFO was here as well, and I mentioned this probably at the last public meeting. The diameter and pipe had to change, so we can alleviate a 25-year storm down on that Howard Avenue area. We also increased the breadth of the project. It couldn't have been done without this minor change or amendment to the bond and to get the additional monies in. Again, costs have increased since the grant was applied for. So that's what's happened here. But there's no increase to debt once you get that money back, because you're paying it off. You pay off your credit card for the amount that you were given the grant. But there's always a chance. Again, I talked about Gertrude Avenue, which is on tonight. We're getting $123,400 and some odd dollars on Wilmington Penny. The project, we're bonding for $240. So we're going to at least 50%, more than 50% will be paid back to us.
Well, it's the same thing, like you want this new municipal building, and what's the estimated cost to have that built?
We don't know, because that project's off the table. It's done. We made that very clear at this point. There is no further discussion.
Let's do roughly 10 million.
On a lower.
And they were giving you 4 million?
There was no preliminary discussion of
The
numbers.
spending, there are things you must spend for, understandable, but you're gonna be losing ratables and everything. Common sense to me is you're losing ratables, okay? And you have all this bonding going on, which you have to pay back whenever, whether you have a 1% loan or 2% loan or whatever. Maybe you should just start freezing next year. Just come in and freeze. Freeze salaries, freeze, except for contractors, their contracts. Freeze, no spending. And cut the budgets 10%. Make an effort. You're not making an effort. The only way you can keep up with this, with what you're going to lose and the money you're putting out, is to come back and fall on the taxpayers. So, that's what he is. Last question for Mr. Pinto. Any luck with my audit?
I believe that's an agenda item. However, I will discuss it. So we have sat down with the ownership of the corporation. Because of the way they're built, they weren't required to do an audit. Only though, through the pilot agreement itself, they are required. So we demanded that of them. So it's going to take some time. We gave them an extension. Previous administrations have not asked that of them. They were told they didn't have to do it. I'm holding their feet to the fire and said, I'm sorry, we require a financial audit. So they'll do so. And once we have that, we will be able to produce it, not to you, to the public, because they're a private corporation. They have no right to share that with you, but with our auditing firm, who will in fact determine that the numbers do match up as what they've been telling us.
Right. Because on the spreadsheet that you gave me up for 120, right? The total tax was supposed to be, does anybody remember? Gail, you were here for the pilot program. Do you remember what the estimated tax was for the year for the whole parcel?
I'm not going to remember exact numbers at this.
254,000.
254,000, correct? Leslie?
That sounds, around 250 was what I
Well,
remember,
We're
yes.
only collecting 240.
Okay. We'll have to look into that in a
Why are we
minute.
only collecting 240?
It's based on usage, right? Rental space. So if there's
Oh, that's the minimum tax
The
on
minimum
the
tax
property, no
off the
matter
property.
what.
You know why you're collecting only 240? You're only paying for the land tax. Was that in the developer's agreement?
No,
Only
there's
for
a
the
minimum
land
tax to be
There's the
paid every
minimum,
year.
yes. There's the minimum.
The minimum was around 170 something, I thought it was.
No, the minimum is
254.
254.
I thought it was around 170.
Maybe.
But it's 240 on your spreadsheet, and when I was talking to Kathy and had conversations with her, we discovered it's only the land value. So how could you put one thing in the development's plan and then break it down later? So I guess I have to talk to James next. He's the appraiser.
Mr. Rigatano, James, probably. I will have the conversation as well.
Thank you.
Maybe. I thought it was one. Maybe I'm wrong.
To make a motion to close public portion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
introduction of ordinance R-0231-184. Mayor Apici asks for a motion to introduce by title on the first reading, ordinance number 2023-015, by way of resolution number 023-184, and it be published in full in the Bergen Record with notice of public hearing to be held on October 11th, 2023. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Committeewoman Otola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vassetti?
Yes.
Committeewoman Bonifaz?
Yes.
Committeeman Mosca?
Yes.
And Mayor Tucci?
Yes. Okay. Be it resolved that the ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the Improvement of Gertrude Avenue from Passaic Street to Pleasant Avenue from Dorothy to Gertrude Avenue, and Dorothy from Passaic Street to Pleasant Avenue in and for the Township of Rochelle Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $240,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to appropriate a federal grant, to authorize the issuance of bond to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Heretofore introduced, does now pass on the first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 11th day of October 2023 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Township Committee, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the acting municipal clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on the first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage. Next ordinance is R-023-185, introduction of ordinance 2023-016. Mayor Apici asks for a motion to introduce by title on the first reading, ordinance number 2023-016, by way of resolution number 023-185, and it be published in full in the Bergen Record with notice of public hearing to be held on October 11th, 2023. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
A second?
I'll second.
Committeewoman Otola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vassetti?
Yes.
Committeewoman Bonifaz?
Yes.
Committeeman Mosca?
Yes.
And Mayor Tucci?
Yes. Be it resolved that the ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to amend and to its entirety the bond ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements in the acquisition of new additional or replacement equipment and machinery of new communication and signal systems equipment in, by, and for the Township of Rochelle Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, excuse me, to appropriate the sum of $1,853,700, to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate various grants, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond or anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, adopted on November 23rd, 2022. Heretofore introduced, does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 11th day of October 2023 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Township Committee, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the acting municipal clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Motion for what?
The bond.
We already did it.
Did that.
All right.
Yeah, she just read it in the record. Now we're consent agenda.
All items listed below are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Township Committee and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a committee member or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. So it will be resolution number 023-186 down to resolution number 023-196. Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Committeewoman Otola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pacsetti?
Yes.
Committeewoman Boniface?
Yes.
Committeeman Mosca?
Yes.
And Mayor Apici?
Yes. Okay, closed session, matters,
Related to just negotiations and personnel.
right, matters relating to negotiation and attorney-client privilege and personnel-lead inspections.
I'll make the motion to go into close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For the public's benefit, there will be no formal action taken after closed session.